The collapse of atheism in the 20th does to the various the overthrow of is one of the most examples. Communism was the major atheistic deviation. The founders of the ideology, Marx, Engels, Lenin, all adopted regimes wished to spread atheism throughout society and destroy religious beliefs. Terrible oppression was aimed at religious communities, particularly Muslims in Stalin's Russia, Red China, Cambodia, Albania, and certain Eastern Bloc countries. This even turned into genocide. Yet that bloody atheist system collapsed in a surprising 1980s. What was was the American Glynn has this. As historians penetrate the circumstances of the communist collapse, it is becoming clear that the Soviet elite the Soviet system suffered a radical demoralization in every One interesting sign of this atheistic crisis of faith in the Soviet system was the reforms President Mikhail Gorbachev tried to implement. From the day Gorbachev came to power, he took an interest in moral issues as well as began by initiating a campaign against alcoholism, for example. He employed the old Marxist style in order to raise the morale of society. But seeing no purpose of God in some final years of his regime, despite the fact that he himself was an atheist. Sincere words of faith were also no use. The of faith in Soviet society continued to grow. The giants was century. Fascism and other century atheist philosophies also collapsed. Fascism was a philosophy that can be regarded as a synthesis of atheism and paganism. Friedrich Nietzsche, regarded as the ideological divine religions, and even described himself as an antichrist. Inspiration behind Nazi Germany. These two thinkers' atheist philosophy that was so full of praise for violence gave birth to the terrible savagery and his closest followers, who were all atheists, Germany into a state of fear. They embarked on the that slaughter, known as World War II, lives of 55 million people. Members of different ethnic Jews and Slavs, and people who fell foul of Nazi ideology, particularly religious figures, were exterminated in concentration camps in the war years. of atheism emerged in societies in the second half of young raised in Christian families, angry anti-religious movement under the influence of atheist ideologues such as Darwin, Marx, and Freud. Developed rapidly in States and Western Europe in the 60s and gave birth to the sexual revolution and the hippie dream that accompanied it. Believed they could find it by means of drugs and sex. These young people who the words of John Lennon's song, "The world with no religion too." In fact, brought them to an unhappy end. In the 1960s either killed themselves or died from drug-induced coma. Most of the young people who found themselves on the missing list were the victims of drugs. Those young turned to found themselves in silence. 68 their backs on God and religion and imagined they could find salvation in such concepts as revolution or love, ruined both themselves and their societies. The information we have so far briefly summarized clearly shows that atheism is undergoing an inevitable collapse. In other words, mankind is turning to God. This truth many opinion formers in Western society are more religious living for years as atheists. That is what makes our age such an important as the way of reason and science is proving to be mere use science for its own ends, and yet it is science that is actually destroying it. Atheism is the greatest irrationality possible. The Quran How can you reject God? Life. Then He will make you give you life again. Then it is He who created everything on the earth for you, and then directed His attention up to heaven and arranged it into 7 regular heavens. He has knowledge of all things.